I want to do a video detailing stuff that, like, I wish that someone had told me when I started medically transitioning like 7 or 8 years ago. Number one, do not let other people dictate what you should be offended by. I have had so many people in the trans community over the years, try to tell me why I should be offended. You don't have to feel some type of way about your birth name. Some trans people do, and that's understandable. That's okay. But you don't have to. Just like you don't have to be up in arms if you don't want to if some of your family members misgender you. I'm not saying that anyone should tolerate like intentional disrespect. But even like 8 years later, I have family members that slip up sometimes, and some of them I don't correct at all. Because I know there's no ill intent behind it. On the same note, if you do have family members that misgender you once in a while, that in no way is a reflection of how like successful your transition has been. I promise you that if you envision the person who to you is like transition goals, they still get misgendered sometimes. I have had men that look like absolute beasts talk to me about how they've been misgendered. Another thing, it's okay to be scared about starting hormones, having surgery. In fact, if you're so scared that you might not seek out those avenues at all for various reasons, that's okay. It is completely normal to be like nervous about starting a life-changing hormone. Same goes with surgeries. These are like life-altering decisions, and it's normal to be nervous and want to take some time. Also, it's okay if you feel like jealous, resentful, spiteful, as long as you're still a decent person. What I mean by that is from experience, I know how hard it can be when, like, you have a friend who's also trans and, they're progressing at a rate that you wish you could progress at, and it's just, your body just isn't doing it. Or maybe they have access to things that you just at that moment don't have access to. It's okay to be jealous. It's okay to be a little butthurt. It's okay to be upset. Those are completely normal human emotions, and it doesn't make you like some, unsupportive entity in their transition. If you need to take a break and step back, then you should do that. I actually had to block updates from some trans men when I started to transition. And I'm glad I did because at the time, I needed it. If you just started transitioning, do not take any shit from elder trans people. Side note, I got called an elder trans person twice like a few months ago. It's happening. Anyways, the trans mass community is very, very toxic. And honestly, that's expected. You have a bunch of individuals, we're all trying to reach a level of masculinity, and we've all had to go through points in our life where we had to be on the defense, because being trans isn't always, super kosher, especially just living life in society like that. Then you mix that with testosterone, and oh my god. Suddenly you have a community of people where a lot of them just feel like they got something to prove. But they were all you once. They all started somewhere just like you are. So if somebody wants to show you support and kindness, that's great, but do not let anybody step on you. Do not let anybody act like you are not worth the same amount of respect that they're worth just because you came out later than they did. People will be like, I knew I was a dude from the moment I was in diapers. Well, that's great, but you're still gonna put some respect on it. And lastly, you can still like girly things. Oh my god, I was so ridiculous. When I first started transitioning, I wouldn't even use a pink washcloth. It'd be like the last one there. Like, okay, guess I'm washing my ass with my bare hands. That's ridiculous! Imagine thinking using a pink washcloth is gayer than actually shoving your hand up your No, I'm just kidding. I'm not talking shit. I'm in a gay marriage. I'm married to a man. But anyways, I digress, okay? I don't digress. But you can still like things that you used to like. Please, back in the day, I had a long-term relationship with this dude who ended up serving like a 10-year bid for attempted, you know what I mean? And he used to love that Colby Calliate song, got a something in my toes and a sprinkle my nose. I mean, he could bust heads, but when that song came on, he'd be walking around humming the tune and snapping his fingers. So if you want to still like Lisa Frank, that's fine.